Welcome everybody to the War and Peace Baseball Podcast. Here today with Ray Estrada, Alex Rudy. I'm Alex Uwe, and it's the All-Star break. We just got to enjoy the All-Star game just a few hours ago, actually. And as much as you can enjoy a 2-1 pitcher's duel. But yeah, it's been a fun couple days in Miami, for sure. How are you guys doing? You guys enjoying all the festivities?
I am doing great, and I love the MLB All-Star. I think All-Star experience. I think it's, in my opinion, the best out of the major sports. The NFL is just terrible. I'm not really big a hockey fan, honestly, so I just don't pay that much attention to it. Though that 3-on-3 is pretty cool, I will admit. And the MLS All-Star game is bizarre, and the NBA's is just weird because it's like the best players, but they're just coasting, and it's just kind of weird to watch. I wish they played a game where they really tried in the 80s. And the best thing about baseball is that you can't really it's really hard to coast in baseball without embarrassing yourself, I think. And this All-Star game, I think, showed it, considering it was a 2-1 game.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it tells you something too, because Chris Sale threw 2 innings, but he was hitting 99 and 100 consistently with his fastball, and I mean, he doesn't do it during the regular season because obviously he said himself you got to go 6, 7, 8, 9 innings. But I mean, baseball, because of the nature of the sport, you guys can afford to go all out in this exhibition without as much of a risk of injury as football or basketball or hockey.
Yeah, I love Max Scherzer in the very first inning. Sounded like I was watching a tennis game. He was grunting, more audibly than I've ever heard anybody, in game in baseball. It was ridiculous. Like, every single pitch he was throwing 90, 97 plus, or, yanking sliders, as hard as he can. I felt like his arm was going to fall off at any moment. But of course he didn't, because he's an absolute beast. Overall it was a fun game. I'm sure this experience was extremely fun if you were there in Miami. You can say what you want about the Marlins. They got a nice new ballpark there, it seems. So, that ballpark was also home to probably what was the more exciting event, the Home Run Derby. I think most people would agree with that, right? Especially this year.
I like pitchers duel way more than you do. I'm just putting that out there right now.
Well, I mean, pitchers duel, meaning pitchers as in 8, 9, 10 pitchers for for each team. It's that part gets a little bit old. I don't know. It's a fun game, but I cannot explain enough how awesome the Home Run Derby was. I think a good way to go into this would be to do a little something like this. I'm going to set a 1-minute timer here on my phone, and all of us just all at once go nuts. Tell the world everything that you have all built up about the Home Run Derby, and I think that'll be a fun little thing to try out. What do you guys say?
Sure. Why not?
Let's do it.
All right. I'm warning you. There's going to be a lot of Aaron Judge and Cody Bellinger throughout, I'm sure. All right. Start it in 3, 2, 1. All right. How can you not say that Aaron Judge is the most insane human being to ever play the game of baseball? He hit 4 balls 500 feet plus. What can you... I have no idea how a human being can even do that.
I think they have to make 2 home run derbies from now on. The normal home run derby and the Aaron Judge home run derby, because he was on a different level as anyone there. He beat Sano and Bellinger with 30 seconds to spare those last rounds, and he hit the most in the first round. He was just playing a different sport. I mean, he was playing a T-ball home run derby while these other guys were out there.
I think we were thinking that was going to happen, though. We thought Stanton was going to just continue to run away with home run derbies. Obviously, they wanted the Stanton versus Judge, but he got knocked out in the first round, so I wouldn't jump on the Judge.
Small up there compared to Judge. Are you kidding?
Oh, no, I know, and Judge looked damn impressive, but I mean, let's not say that it's impossible for him to lose the home run derby.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
That was a minute. That was a very short minute. So we'll just keep talking. Do whatever. God damn it! Shut up, you stupid alarm.
He just didn't get tired compared to the other guys. I was kind of watching it on and off in the gym, but it looked to me like from the first round to the second round to the third round, you could really see those guys wear town in the home run derby, which is not, something I've always noticed because I remember there was the Josh Hamilton year, like 5 years ago, where he had like 30, it felt like, maybe 40, it felt like.
I think he had 28
in one round.
All right, it felt like
round.
50. It felt like he was just going off, and the format was different back then, so I don't know if it was harder or easier. And then he collapsed. He lost to Justin Morneau, I think it was, because he had nothing
like
left.
7 home runs, I think that's what it was.
And, Judge, I know he struggled in that final round a little bit at one point, but I don't know. His swing is so effortless and energy efficient and compact. It just looked like he was just not even breaking a sweat out there to me. It was just so casual for him.
I think the best part was seeing the balls. Not the best part, but it was amazing to see the balls that he just straight up missed. Like, just popped up to right field, and some of them just snuck over the wall. And some of them even went into, like, the second deck in right field. Like,
he literally hit a ball that hit the very back of the stadium. Like, it literally, like, you couldn't hit it farther in the stadium.
Yeah, not just the back, like,
tried.
Really high up on the wall. It was, like, over halfway up that glass wall out there.
Like, there was no possible way to hit a farther ball at that stadium, and he did it. Like, if that was an open stadium, like, you just have to pray that someone didn't park a car where that ball was going to land, because it would have exploded on impact.
I would be very okay with my car exploding by a Aaron Judge home run.
So besides Aaron Judge, what was the most exciting moment of the Derby besides anything Aaron Judge did?
Okay, I'm actually not ready to move on from Aaron Judge. Can we talk about the roof ball? He hit a ball to the fucking roof in Miami, which is a new ballpark designed to basically not have that be a factor at all. And he just hit a moonshot that hit off the, like, it wasn't even like a catwalk, it just hit the roof and fell down into the field of play. And they didn't count it as a home run, even though everybody, like, in the ESPN cast was like, oh, that's absolutely crushed. Like, that's got to be a home run. Are they not giving it to him? Like, it was, that might have been, like, the most impressive thing he did, despite him hitting a ball, like, 500 whatever feet off of the back of the stadium.
But that was also the second time he did it that day. He hit it off the roof in BP as well.
Oh, that wasn't on freaking national broadcast like this one was.
I mean, kind of, but...
Are you saying it's less impressive? Oh, he already did it, so,
No. I'm saying this is impressive because he did it twice. And
It's just routine at this point.
Yeah.
They didn't Aaron Judge.
Are you done with Aaron Judge and ready to answer the question that I posed?
I'm done. I hope nothing more comes over me, but I can't make any promises.
Most exciting moment or like thing about the Derby besides anything Aaron Judge did?
Justin Bohr putting on a show. Like, Aaron Judge kind of shut that party down really quick, but
yeah.
Justin Bohr had 22 homers in a round and was fed a donut by his teammate. I'd say that's pretty exciting stuff right there.
I'll say. I mean, obviously that was impressive, but Cody Bellinger in the first round, down 2 home runs, hit the second, basically a buzzer beater, 440-foot home run to get an extra 30 seconds, in which he beat Charlie Blackmon in.
Yeah, Charlie Blackmon did a really nice job, all things considered. He hit 14, didn't he, in his round?
Yeah, he hit 14.
Considering everybody was saying, why the hell is a guy like Charlie Blackmon in the home run derby? And granted, StatCast didn't have him hitting any balls 440 feet, which a lot of these other guys were doing with their eyes closed. But Blackmon was showing that he belonged there. He almost beat Bellinger if it wasn't for that one little 440-foot bonus time rule thing.
Yeah, but the thing is that I mean, you talk about Blackmon. I was writing my NL West article today, and I was looking. I named him the MVP for the Rockies in the first half because he leads that team in home runs. Well, Charlie Blackmon leads the Rockies in home runs.
Yeah, I mean, Charlie Blackmon leads that team in a lot of stuff. Like Nolan's been good, but Blackman's been amazing.
I think the point Ray's trying to make is that, with a team of sluggers such as Cargo and Arenado and Mark Reynolds, it's pretty surprising that Blackmon, who I think is perennially underrated and not really known for his power,
the leadoff hitter
is
leading the Rockies in home runs. The leadoff hitter is.
Well, George Springer's a leadoff hitter, and he's leading his team.
For the Rockies, though. I mean, I know the Astros have a stacked, very good year for leadoff hitters in terms of power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Derby stuff. I mean, Miguel Sano, I got to give a huge shout-out to.
Oh,
also.
Yeah.
That man was hitting balls, basically as close to 500 feet as you can without actually getting there. He hit that one ball right into the shot right when there was lightning striking in the background.
That was an awesome shot.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of just camera work in general, did you guys like the way ESPN did the behind the back view? I personally hated that.
What
the camera angles were terrible.
See, the camera angles that ESPN went with, not even for the whole Derby, they went from behind the hitter, and they got the hit. I guess the only positive is that you don't have to change. Like, they could use that camera for longer, I guess. But, I want to see it from, the perspective of, the way I normally watch a baseball game. They did do that for some of it, but not all.
They didn't have the catcher cam this year. The catcher cam was actually pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, not for every ball, obviously, but...
No, but...
Yeah, they should be trying more of these little things. Put as many cameras on the field as you can. You only do this once a year. It's a huge event. They try to put a camera on the baseball for crying out loud. Hope the batter doesn't annihilate it when he hits it. So, I don't know. Do it. Do whatever you think you can get away with, and even if it doesn't work, so what? That's the only real complaint I had about the Derby, though. The rest of it was great. You guys,
all right?
You guys feel the same for the most part? I think that's a good place to move on. Speaking of the All-Star festivities, let's not forget about the Futures game, which is always a really fun time, especially if you are playing a Dynasty Fantasy League. You're always looking for the next big pickup. I mean, even the Yankees that were in it this year, I didn't really know much about. Maybe that's just because all our prospects are either injured or already up in the big leagues. But
I'd never heard of them, and I thought I follow the Yankees prospects pretty closely. And I had no idea who those guys were. To be honest, I was pretty surprised.
Yeah, I mean, but for the most part, the big showstoppers in this one were Brett Honeywell of the Rays, who threw 2 shutout innings, I think, and struck out 4. He will be known as the guy with the screwball for quite a while, I'd say. He looks like he's got a really good handle of it too. It's not just he throws a screwball. That's his dirt pitch. He was locked in with that one. It was cool to see that anyway. And Michael Kopech is the other guy. Everybody knows it. Guy is touching 100 on the regular. Touched 101 in his appearance. So, those are really the only 2 standout ones. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to add about the Futures game?
Not really.
Super underrated event.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
We went to go watch it last year in San Diego.
It was excellent.
It really was. These young guys, basically, they're basically major league players, just a little more unrefined, but
they're
also
professionals.
I really like the USA World aspect of it because it just adds a whole other twist to it. It's cool to see guys do it not just for themselves, but do it to represent their nations, especially the international guys. I kind of just like that whole factor to it.
Yeah,
you don't really see a lot of
it's a showcase for them, but they care about the game itself. They care about winning. It's always fun to see that. So yeah, I think that's, believe it or not, I think that's about all we have on the All-Star festivities. Is there anything I was missing? How about the softball game, the Legends and Celebrity softball game? Did you guys watch any of that?
Yvonne Hernandez almost hit a ball legitimately out of the park, Marlins Park. That was very impressive.
I think it was the most runs ever in a celebrity softball game.
I believe it. I mean, I bet these guys probably they want to practice a little bit so they don't look like fools, and then
some of them take it very seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that one home run that you mentioned, I think that's just the new juice softballs that they're using nowadays in this event. I think MLB's been trying to hide that from us, but we know the truth about the juice softballs. Yeah, so I mean, who are some of the main names in that even? And not that it matters at all. Jamie Foxx is in it like every year now, isn't he? He's like
the
main
He's
guy.
like the MC, but also plays.
Yeah, I saw Ricky Henderson was in it. He just hit a home run right away. I'm like, yeah, we get it. You're still good. Okay. Like, I don't know why.
Ricky Henderson is the king of leadoff home runs. That's why.
That's true. Had to keep adding to his total. Somebody should tell him that it doesn't actually go on his player chart though.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that's it. In general, All-Star Weekend is great if you have a chance to make it to one close by. It's definitely something that you should do at least once. I definitely want to go to another one at some point. We should all go. Where's the game next year?
Washington.
Oh, Washington. That's going to be a really good one. Bryce Harper in the Derby. Come on.
Bryce Harper in the Derby.
Well, he actually, I think he said he will.
He said
the home run
he
derby
said he
if
will
makes
when he
the
goes
team.
to Washington.
No, if he makes the team, he made sure to add that. Like, he's not taking it for granted. He said, if I make the team, I'm doing the Derby. So it's good. We got that set in stone.
There's 7 teams relatively close to us, so there's bound to, be an All-Star game at one of those stadiums sometime soon, even though it was just in Angel Stadium and in San Diego recently. But we could do a live podcast during an event. It would be pretty cool.
Yeah, or I mean, hopefully by then we'll have a better grasp of that. But that definitely sounds like a fun time there for sure. Let's talk. Let's reflect. Let's use this 4-day break to reflect on the amazing first half that we've seen. I think going into the season, we definitely thought things were going to go much differently, and I think now would be a good time to share our first half awards. So that would be MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the first half, I guess, not quite Rookie of the Year, and we also gave predictions for our World Series matchup prediction. I think it would be a good idea to maybe go ahead and have a second crack at those, because I think some of them were not quite what we expected, or maybe they were, maybe they still are. But we'll look at that, and we'll look back at our early predictions as well to go along with these. I think we'll start with you, Rudy. We'll go ahead and jump right into these predictions.
So much pressure.
Well, I mean, this part is the.
Are we going MVP first, or should I say everything at once, or how do you?
We'll talk about the MVP first. I don't know if I'm able. I'm looking for our predictions. Actually, I think that would be a fun thing to mention first. Here we go. So your AL MVP pick was Mike Trout. No surprise there.
Nice.
Let's hear your first half MVP.
Okay, so I think you could definitely make the safe. I think you could take a look at this 2 ways. You could either say who is the best player of the first half in the AL, and the best player of the first half in the AL, just in pure, who is intrinsically the best, was still Trout. But if you want to go by the numbers and the production, which I think is and I think Trout was still the most valuable when he played, but he missed about a month. And if you depending on how you look at this, I think the other case would then be for Judge, just because he played the whole first half, and his numbers are comparable. I think you can argue better in some ways. Obviously, the counting stats are simply better because he's played more and he's had more power in general. And the Yankees have also been a better team, though pretty fucking horrible in June. So I think either way would be a good pick. I don't think I wouldn't disparage anyone for picking one of them over the other, but for me, I'm going to just go with Judge just because I think Trout still has a chance to be the MVP with a strong second half, and I've never seen a player in my entire life in any sport do what Judge is doing his rookie year, even Trout, for as impressive as he was his rookie year. So, and I have no idea, when this will stop, if it will. So I'm going to go with Judge.
Yeah, I think that was probably the most conservative way to say your pick was Aaron Judge that I could have imagined. You gave Trout his due, and when he was healthy, he was. But realistically, I'm looking at this first half, and I'm finding it hard to make any case for anybody other than Aaron Judge. That's who I'm going with too. I think all of us had Trout, except for me, who, with my very bold MVP picks, went with Francisco Lindor in the American League. Hey, don't laugh. It still can happen.
You win some, you lose some.
It can still happen. He's just got to he's got to get busy the rest of the season going forward. But Aaron Judge, I think, is undisputably the AL MVP of the first half.
I think it'll be very interesting once as Trout comes back to see, especially if he produces at the same level. That'll be a very fun full season MVP race.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Trout is looking. He's chasing Judge down right now. He's coming from behind, so we'll see how that goes. All right, let's go ahead and do the NL side now. Rudy, you picked Harper as your MVP before the season started.
Yes, I did pick Harper as my MVP when the season started. So for the second half, I think the last podcast we talked about Harper and Goldschmidt, me and you. Maybe that wasn't on air. I can't remember exactly.
I think we did.
I'm going to go with Goldie just because I think he deserves his due, and this team is more overperforming their expectations. And that's a weird way to talk about MVP, but I think, to me, not much separates these guys statistically. I think you can make, once again, a case for either or. And, Goldschmidt is just all around. I think you can make the case the best hitter in the National League. And I think Votto is up there, too, this year. But with the defense, the stolen bases, the team success, I know you love him too, Rui. That's going to be my pick right now. But I think compared to the AL, it's this is a way, way closer race. I think, you could throw in a surprise Bellinger in there if you want to be really bold. Though I think that'd be a bit much for my taste. The Milwaukee Brewers payroll maybe. For being the lowest in baseball.
The first payroll to ever win the MVP award. That'd be impressive. Charlie Blackmon's name should also be right.
Charlie Blackmon is definitely... Yeah, I knew I was missing someone. Charlie Blackmon. I would say also him, Harper, or Goldschmidt for me. I don't think you can go wrong. I struggle to find a separation, so... I just feel like Goldschmidt's perennially underrated, and we gave Blackmon his due when we talked about the home run derby. So I'm going to go with Goldschmidt for now.
Yeah, and Ray, you actually picked Nolan Arenado as your preseason MVP pick. So
yes,
what do you think
now? We all. I would say all good names. Goldschmidt. You can throw Daniel Murphy in there, league leader in average right now. Zimmerman. Zimmerman's good. I don't know. You got 3 Nationals on top of the board in terms of average, but I would tend to lean Votto right now actually because
really
well, I'm looking at a list right here, and Votto and Goldschmidt are right on top of each other. Votto has 6 more home runs than Paul Goldschmidt, 1 more RBI, 35 less strikeouts, and is hitting for basically the same average. But Votto has had a very impressive year that is not what, like, we're seeing him have high on base, high average, not necessarily the power numbers you want to see, but the fact that he's still keeping up his on base 427, a 315 average, while hitting 26 home runs at the break, I think that is very impressive.
His team sucks ass, though.
So did Trout's last year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like that you have to wait, but you have to wait a little bit.
I know.
I mean, I think it's hard to judge a sport like baseball and MVP and really factor in team success when one player can only contribute so much. But I mean, unless I'm like really underestimating the Cincinnati Reds record, aren't they one of the worst like 5 teams in the league this year?
Let me take a look at that. I don't know if they're top 5 worst.
No, because they started off decent, so I don't think they're there
10
yet.
games under 500. That's not all right. I'll give it to you because that's not. I mean, that's bad, but that's not.
Let's see here. There's
unbelievably bad.
2, 3, 4.
I just think
there's 4 teams. They are top 5 worst team in the league.
All right. I mean, I think when Joey Votto isn't clearly above, the guys we mentioned before, I think that's just a bit of a reach on such a bad team. But I don't think it's indefensible because he is having an incredible year, especially after injuries and it being his age 33 season for sure.
Yeah, I don't like that. This whole team factor and winning matters in the voting, but it does. And I just can't bring myself to pick Votto. I love the dude. He might be the best hitter of the first half, actually. But my pick is going to be Harper, which is interesting because my preseason pick was Trey Turner, a different national who I said might be the best national, for the future going forward. Unfortunately, out with a wrist injury right now, so I'm going to go ahead and say that, if he did not sustain, he was on the DL early in April also. I'm going to go ahead and be blissfully optimistic that if Trey Turner played the entire first half, my claim would have been a little bit stronger, but I can't deny what Bryce Harper's doing. I looked at Goldschmidt really closely. You said, as you mentioned, I love Goldschmidt too, but looking at Goldschmidt and Harper side by side, Harper is just a little bit better in most categories. And I can't ding Harper for being on a team that just is full of superstars. I know Goldschmidt is definitely carrying a lot more of the load, you could say, with the Diamondbacks, but Harper, their team is just absolutely run away with it at this point. Like, and what he's been doing, the way he's been hitting lefties too, it's just everything's clicking for this guy. I think, I can't deny Harper. I feel like the case has to be made against Harper, and I just can't do it.
Daniel Murphy. I would pick Daniel Murphy off that team over Bryce Harper right now in terms of like an MVP pick, because Murphy is pretty comparable in most. He's striking out a lot. He strikes out a lot less. Obviously, he has a higher average, less home runs, obviously. But I mean, one shy in RBIs. Daniel Murphy, I think, is a better MVP candidate from the Nationals than Harper is right now.
You're using like the most old man stats on me here. I don't get it. What are you doing? Like, I mean,
I like the old fashioned stats, but I think Harper is good, but I mean Murphy is the one that's really standing out on that team right now.
I mean, even just looking at OPS is one of the most straightforward stats out there. Harper leads him by a pretty good margin, by almost like 0.06 more than Murphy. I'll just say like Murphy has an OPS of 966, which is great.
I see that.
Harper's is over 1,000. Like I can't say that like Murphy's having a better season. Harper is clearly a better defender too.
For me, it's harder to pick an MVP off of a team of a lot of really good players, because you can find more value in one guy on a poorer team than value in one guy on a team full of all-stars.
it depends on how you define value. Like, Bryce Harper is an extremely valuable player to that team still, even though they are, where they are, just leading the division by what seems like an uncatchable pace right now. They're 9.5 games up on the Braves, which is, even after the Braves made up a little bit of ground there, it seems, in the last little stretch. But, Bryce Harper is playing the best of any of these nationals, so I can't make you the case for another national. Can't make you the case for Murphy. I mean, you tried, but like, even the numbers you said, Bryce Harper's were better. I don't know what to say about that.
What about Jason Worth, though?
I mean, he has
a
beard on that team. Does that should
count
deserve
for
some
something,
love?
Right.
Anthony Rendon does not get enough love either on that team. I think he's the highest WAR of any other national, even on that team. And I think part of that is his defense is fantastic at third base, and he is having a really good offensive year. It's just nowhere near what Harper's doing offensively. I don't think you can value defense quite that much. And WAR is also really weird in that it undervalues first base defense a lot just because of the position it is. That's what I've noticed. So it's a good measure for the most part, but not the best measure by any means. All right, let's go ahead and move on from MVP. Let's talk about pitching. Let's talk about Cy Young Award winners. Rudy, let's start with you again. You went with Sale in the American League.
Correct.
And it's still correct, right?
That is correct.
Can we
Correct.
Can we go ahead and all say that
I don't really have anything
Sale?
to say about Sale, honestly. Like, he's really good. Slider is cool.
Slider is
the Red
cool.
Sox
Slider
still.
is cool.
I think his arm's going to fall off in plus or minus 30 years, I think is the bet, because I just don't see... He's just not like a guy that is going to have a long prime. It just doesn't... I don't see... It just... can't remember the last guy who pitches like him and, like, had, like, a really sustainable, long, like, peak. And there's probably 5 examples that you guys can name off the top of your head that ruin that point, but just... I don't know. The feeling is not there for him being like a Kershaw. I know that's a bad example because Kershaw's like an all-time great, but like just a guy who like for close to a decade is just one of the top pitchers in baseball, and that's the highest standard to achieve. But he's been, I think, arguably the best pitcher in baseball this year. So that's kind of the next question is if, okay, now you've reached this peak, how long can you sustain it? And to me, it just doesn't feel, for whatever reason, like, he's that kind of guy.
You think he gets over or under 350 strikeouts? I think he's at 176 right now, I want to say.
I'm going to say under because they're going to, I'm sure, not make him throw like a ton of innings at the very end because they'll probably clinch a playoff spot by then.
Toughest division in baseball. I don't know. Maybe they will be needing their pitch.
They're a way better team. They're way better. They're more talented than any other team in the division. I think they're going to wind up the gap second half.
Really? All right then. Sale's ridiculous. We all have Sale, right, Ray?
Yeah.
I think we all had him.
I think all our Cy Youngs are the same.
Actually, Farbode predicted that Aaron Sanchez would win the AL Cy Young.
What?
Wow.
Oh.
That's awful. That's the worst.
We will never know with the blisters.
That's disgusting. That's just Farbode. I'm embarrassed about that.
I mean, Aaron Sanchez is good. I'm not giving up on Sanchez, but I am on the Cy Young this year. All right, NL. We all put Kershaw preseason. So, what do we have now? What you got, Rudy?
I think this one's honestly the hardest the hardest decision to make for the entire first half is the question of Kershaw versus Scherzer. I think it's by far the closest. I mean, have you guys decided one way or another clearly? I mean, I really don't.
I have decided on...
I have.
One is
I decided on
clearly
Kershaw.
better.
Oh, here we go. We have a...
So I'm the tiebreaker. So you guys hash it out first, and then convince me which one to pick. How about that?
Oh no, I was not ready for speech and debate class. Crap. Okay. I don't like wins. Kershaw's got 14 of them. I don't like that stat. Max Scherzer has been disgusting this year. I mean, Kershaw is what he is, but he has increased his home run rate more so than usual. That's what kind of balances this more than, other years. It would normally be Kershaw, and then Scherzer is like a very close second. But now they're about as neck and neck as they could possibly be, just because Kershaw's been worse than people expected. But Scherzer's got a .78 whip and 173 strikeouts. Those are two really classic stats, but they're very telling stats. They're very reliable stats to use. I think... Let me look at Kershaw's two side by side here.
Very comparable.
Comparable, but not better. They're worse than Scherzer's in that regard, and they're close. They're just not quite as good. ERAs are really close. I don't really like ERA that much either. But,
you don't like all the old stats, do you?
I mean, ERA is not. I can't take a guy with like a 4 ERA as a Cy Young Award winner, obviously, but there's other factors that don't, like, ERA doesn't demonstrate how dominant a pitcher is quite as well as some other stats, like Ks per 9 and WHIP does. So, Scherzer's just been unhittable for so much this season.
I think ERA is better than Ks per 9. Just on that point, Ks per 9, you can strike out a lot of hitters. A lot of your outs can be strikeouts, but you can still give up like 5 runs a game.
Well, there's Ks per 9, and like combined with other things like your workload, your innings, your how many base runners you're allowing. That's your WHIP. WHIP is probably my favorite pitching stat. And Scherzer's just not letting anybody on base. Like, he won't let them. He will bark at them. He will foam at the mouth to keep them off base. And I think that is very, like, I've watched more Scherzer this year than I have Kershaw. I'll give you that. And, I'm not going to speak about demeanor and use that as evidence because I know it's not. But Scherzer has just been on top of his game, going lights out mode the entire stretch of this season. Like, I don't know what other case to make against him. Like, he's not doing anything poorly. His stuff has been as electric as it ever has been. He's locked in a time where offense is better than ever. So, if you can make me a definitive case for Kershaw right now, I don't see one obviously just sitting right in front of me.
Well, so they're all their stats are similar. Yes, Scherzer has slight edges in a lot of them, but they're still two very good pitchers. And the thing is you're saying like Scherzer is on top of his game right now, and Kershaw, he's given up already a career high on home runs this year, and he's still putting up these numbers. So Kershaw, maybe you can call this a down year, I guess. Just how
nobody's
impressed.
calling it a down year either, though. Like,
I'm
the only difference
saying,
is he's giving up a few more home runs, but that doesn't dent the numbers that badly for him,
But still, he hasn't looked as dominant this year as he has in years past. And the fact that he's kind of just cruising and putting up these numbers, like it's like, because it looked easy when he was putting up sub 1 ERAs, but the fact that he does struggle at times and still has a 2.1 ERA or whatever and a .88 WHIP, he's still really damn impressive pitcher. And I think I don't know, but
I'm still not hearing the case for him right now. I'm hearing the case that he's a good pitcher. I'm not hearing the case that he's better than Scherzer.
I'm gonna have to agree with you so far.
Did I win the debate?
I don't know. I just
want to tell me something that makes Kershaw better so far than Scherzer.
He has 4 more innings pitched than Scherzer.
In a vacuum, is Kershaw better? Quite possibly, but I mean,
definitely.
It's not really how the Cy Young is determined. I would say
that sucks, but
I mean, you could, and I think you could still win in the second half. But I think by a smidgen, Scherzer's been better.
By a schmidgen. Got him just by a schmidgen.
What I think is more interesting, honestly, is how much better these guys and I guess Sale are than everyone else. Like to me, like I can't remember.
So now, I'll ask you this.
Just immense.
Wait, I'll ask you this. Going forward, we're talking about first half Cy Youngs. Do you still predict that Kershaw will win the Cy Young over Scherzer?
No.
Why?
Scherzer's just been dialed in on a whole new level, and I see that staying. I'm sorry, I just do. Like, I know Kershaw is what he is, but now I see what Scherzer's doing this season. He's got as much momentum as anybody. I mean, they're both pitching for fantastic teams too, which helps with pretty strong defenses. But Scherzer's just in a different world right now. Like his mentality, he's almost rabid when he goes out on the mound. Like he's got that intimidation factor too. I like that. My gut tells me
it's the eyes.
He's got the crazy.
But
eyes.
you don't see Kershaw really like starting to really like show his prime form in the second half.
He's been doing that for like a couple months. It was like a 4-start stretch where he gave up he had one game where he gave up 4 homers to the Mets or whatever. Like, I'm not saying that Kershaw is not a dominant pitcher still. He just, this first half of the season had a stretch where it was like, oh, well, something's a little off with Kershaw, and then he was like, nah, I'm good, and then just went back to shutting people down. But, I'm just saying, like, Kershaw's great. Scherzer's been better this year. I don't see that slowing down. That's all I'm saying. And just to show how like screwy Fangraphs is, or like how little I understand about it, Scherzer has a lower FIP. He has a 2.6 FIP and Kershaw has like a 3 FIP. Scherzer has a higher xFIP. He has like a 3.07 xFIP, and Kershaw has a 2.75 xFIP. And Scherzer has like 0.7 more WAR than Kershaw this year, despite Kershaw having 14 wins. So, I don't know. I don't know if that did anything to heighten this argument at all, but, it is what it is. Scherzer's been dominant. 12.13 Ks per 9 to Kershaw's 10.81, which is still unbelievable, but Scherzer's just been better. I can't say it anymore because I feel like I'm getting really, really repetitive. I think we should move on here. What do you say? Truce?
Sure.
We got a truce? Okay.
Yeah.
We will push through. Rudy, did you make your decision based on that too?
Yeah, I was definitely giving Scherzer by you. I'm sorry, Ray. Like I said, I think I'm still taking Kershaw. If I need that one start to win me the World Series to save the planet against the aliens that were fighting in the World Series in this situation. But yeah, so far Scherzer's just been slightly better, and I just feel like there's been more Scherzer starts where I'm like, holy shit, like that was an incredible start this year, and maybe that's just headline bias or something, but that's just the way it's felt. It's definitely felt like Scherzer's been slightly better this year too.
I think that shows just how amazing Kershaw is, though, is that guys have to have exceptional years and performances
without a doubt
to barely outshine him.
He's still the best pitcher in baseball. Yeah,
and LeBron James is still the best player in basketball, and he didn't win the MVP.
It's a great way to put it. It's a great comparison to make.
I actually do think right now, if the MLB Space Jam were to happen today, I think I'd be taking Scherzer on the mound. Just like I mentioned it already, he's got the crazy eyes, he's got the bulldog mentality. His stuff is probably more electric than Kershaw's. Kershaw's just like an artist up there, but Scherzer just straight up better stuff. Like his 3 pitches. I know Kershaw mixes in a lot more, or I don't know. They're different pitchers, but Scherzer's just like, if I need swings and misses, I need to defeat somebody, I'm using him every time. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, so let's do Rookie of the Year. I think AL is going to be a little too easy. Yeah?
I think both leagues are too easy.
Can we give a little bit of love to some of the runner-ups, though, to Aaron Judge and Cody Bellinger? Like, Benintendi's having a great season. And that's who all of us picked for the AL. A little bit sad that, I mean, I'm obviously thrilled
Gary
that Judge is doing what he's
Sanchez
doing.
is having a great season, too.
Also not a
He
rookie.
missed a whole month.
Also not a rookie.
Gary Sanchez isn't a rookie?
No.
No, remember he
was
finished
third
second
in rookie of the year
year.
last year, man.
Oh,
Was he
so
second or
not
third?
right.
I thought he was second.
Was he? Did he
So
come second?
true.
Yeah, he came second
He
to
did.
Fulmer.
Why would he come
Behind-
third? He did come second.
Behind Fulmer.
Yeah.
All right, I'm
Um,
just going to shut up for this part then.
No, we need you, Rudy. So NL, everybody else picked Swanson. I picked Renfroe, which is really bad. I think he's getting on base under 300 right now.
287.
He's got 16 homers, so
That's it.
dongers. There's always dongers. Dansby Swanson's been really lackluster, not
Bad.
doing anything this season.
Yeah.
Bregman's been pretty disappointing as well.
Also not a rookie, but it's fine.
Damn it.
Well,
0 for 2.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, he's not a rookie. I know that because I definitely would have picked him for rookie of the year if he was a rookie. So let's take a look at the World Series matchups that we picked. Which surprisingly only one of which included the Cubs, and that was yours, Rudy. You had the Cubs and the Indians. You had the rematch. So
Not looking good.
what do you think, if you had to change it right now, what would you change it to?
I mean, right now it looks pretty clear to be Dodgers-Astros, though. I'm pretty sure you rarely see the two best records in, like the best record in each league match up in the World Series in the baseball. I feel like that almost never happens, but I mean, I don't really know who's seems better than those two teams, and they look just to be more dominant going forward. I'd say if you're gonna pick any other teams to throw nose, I think I still really believe in the Red Sox just because they seem to have so much depth, and I think they'll probably find another starter.
Really, you think they're going to go after another starter? That's an interesting take right
Well,
there, actually.
after Pomeranz and Sale, who do you have
like
can
a
really
top
give the?
like a top rotation type
Yeah,
starter?
I guess. No.
no,
I mean, there's no
playoff.
aces out there, but like you think they're gonna go after like Quintana or Gray or any of those guys? I don't think they are.
I don't know. Do you really feel confident going to the playoffs with after you? So Sale pit, okay, you have Sale for sure, but then a mix of Eduardo Rodriguez, Pomeranz, and Porcello to try to hope one of those guys is hot. I don't know. I would not be confident in that at all.
They have David Price also. I will not leave him.
David Price,
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I totally trust
not-
David Price in the playoffs.
not the guy who I'm trusting this year in the
Wow,
playoffs.
a lot of shade being thrown at David Price right now.
But what has he done this year that would make you?
No,
think
I
that
know, but
he's
you
gonna be
guys are
dependent?
just like, oh, David Price, screw him, he's not good. But like, I don't know, like.
I mean, he
No,
has
he's
not
not-
been
he's
good in
not
the
good in the
past,
playoffs.
like 18 months.
I'm just gonna say Chris Sale's gonna strike out like 80 batters in the playoffs, and then they're gonna do it that way.
Okay, well, if anything, that just further proves my point
He's
that I
gonna
think
Mad
the
Bum it.
Astros just look a step above everyone else in the AL so far.
Oh, except for their pitching. Their pitching looks even worse off than the Red Sox.
I think
Shaky.
McCullers and Keuchel is pretty fucking solid for the playoffs. I mean, and there's no reason they can't get another guy if they don't feel confident with superstar Brad Peacock pitching some innings.
Don't make fun of Brad Peacock, all
I mean,
right?
not every team. There's no perfect team.
It's a
this year.
normal
There's no
name, all right?
There's no last year's Cubs that are just a well-oiled machine that is an unstoppable force.
Some people
I
are
mean,
saying
the
the Nationals kind of.
The Dodgers are unbelievably injury prone. There's a 95% chance that a key player is not healthy
Nobody
in the
seems to
playoffs.
like the Nationals.
No bullpen.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like, unbelievably horrendous. It's embarrassing that team has 4 guys we mentioned in the MVP race, which I thought was really interesting, and yet I have no confidence that they'll be in the World Series, let alone win it, because you need a great bullpen to succeed in the modern MLB playoffs, which the Red Sox, the Astros, and the Dodgers all have good to great bullpens. The Nationals have one of the worst in the league, and
Well, what were we saying about the Cubs bullpen All-Star break last year?
But then they
We're not
added
singing the praises
Aroldis
of the
I
Chapman.
mean,
bullpen.
did they trade for
Exactly.
Chapman.
The Nationals can trade for somebody.
I don't think people
Mark
thought the Cubs
Melancon
bullpen
again?
was. Wait. People were definitely not saying the Cubs had one of the worst bullpens in the league last year. That's just false.
I didn't say that. It's just not a good,
But
not a strong
there's a
bullpen.
big difference
That was
from
like
having.
that looked like their hole at the time.
But
like,
It was their whole
otherwise
time, but it was not as big a hole as the Nationals have.
It's just not the same. The Nationals just like lost in I think the most games in the league that any bullpen has lost a team.
Like multi-run games too after the eighth or something like that. It's ridiculous how
in
bad
the
they are.
playoffs, and their rotation's outstanding. That's actually the rotation I love, probably the best for the playoffs. Scherzer, Strasburg, and Gio. I mean, that's no one's been talking about Gio Gonzalez, but holy hell, he's had a great comeback season. I mean, that's a great rotation. The offense is there, even without Adam Eaton gone for the whole season. The offense should be fine, but I mean, they have to make like 2 or 3 trades maybe to shore up the bullpen if they really want to make that run, and that just doesn't seem like a team that's ever been aggressive enough at the trade deadline to really give up the prospect depth to do so.
That's fair.
The Indians and the Cubs are sleeping giants. The Diamondbacks and the Rockies, to me, just don't seem like playoff threats. They just don't have enough, it seems to me. They haven't proven enough. They had a great first half, but it's a long way to go.
Who likes the Brewers? Crickets.
People in Milwaukee. Maybe. I heard they're like the 8th most popular team there, so I don't even know that.
Anybody thinking Rocktober is a thing? I'm just getting the feel of the room here. Just test.
Are you talking about the Rockies?
Yeah, Rocktober.
Absolutely no pitching besides like Greg Holland in the back end.
I like Kyle Freeland.
He's good, but I mean he has a 3.77 ERA, which is impressive for a rookie in Coors Field. But unless they really start smashing their way back, they lost. What was it? They lost 15 out of their last 19 games.
They're also really lucky to start the first half, and they did this last year too, which everyone seems to forget. Just not as hot.
I don't know. I don't know how recently we talked about him, but Senzatello's in the bullpen now. I didn't know that.
If the Rockies do find a way to get there, I do like John Gray, Jeff Hoffman duo. They're some good power arms, and it seems like these sneaky, young power pitchers are the kinds of guys that are very valuable on the big stage in the postseason.
Yeah,
Stuff
they have a
plays
deep
in the
bullpen.
postseason.
They do have a deep bullpen. I mean, you have Ottavino's was pretty bad coming out the DL, but I think he'll be pretty good in the second half still. He still has nasty shit. And McGee. I mean, the bullpen's nice, but the offense is really underperformed if you really dive into the stats more than I think people realize. I mean, it should, when you really think about it, it should actually be better, as good as Blackman's been. Mm-hmm. Considering their performance, you would really actually expect their offense to have done better. And I'm pretty worried. I'd be pretty worried if I was a Rockies fan that going into the second half that the offense really hasn't been as good as I think you would expect, considering their record. And I think it's just so fucking hard to have a deep playoff run when you play in Coors. And if they're going to spend money this offseason on pitching, maybe they can convince somebody there, since they have a lot of talent and look good. They can make a run next year, but I don't think this is their year. It just doesn't. They just don't have enough to me.
All right. So, what is the definitive World Series matchup that you're going with?
Well, like I started with Astros Dodgers.
Astros Dodgers. Okay. Ray, what you got? You had
Astros Dodgers.
You had Indians Dodgers before.
Yeah, but I wouldn't rule out Indians or the Red Sox. I think the AL is seems a lot tighter than the NL. Granted, the Nationals are very good, but there's one team I trust less in the playoffs than the Dodgers. It's Nationals. But
that's the only team you trust less than the Dodgers.
in terms of like power teams, like traditional playoff teams. But Cleveland, I think maybe they're coming off a little bit of a hangover. Maybe I'm glad Terry Francona's okay. Maybe when he comes back from his health issues, they can catch a spark. Some of their guys haven't quite hit. Your preseason MVP pick hasn't quite hit his stride yet this season. And the red. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think Cleveland's going to get a lot better. They added Edwin for a reason. That was to try to make another run of the World Series. The Red Sox are very good on paper. Hopefully, Chris Sale doesn't have a second half like he did last year in Chicago, when he had a very impressive first half. And so I think there's teams out there in the AL like the Indians and the Red Sox that can take down the Astros. And then in the NL, the Dodgers are. I mean, let's face it, they're far and away the best team in the National League. I don't see the Diamondbacks. I see the Diamondbacks getting a wild card spot for sure because they're somewhat legit compared to the Rockies. The Rockies might sneak in just riding off a really big lead early, but the biggest threat to the Dodgers really is the Nationals, and Rudy and I said this a lot. We just can't see the Nationals winning anything.
That's because we haven't seen it. It's hard to see what you
exactly, but Nationals for a lot of years have had the best team on paper, it seems, and they haven't won anything. And I think the terrible bullpen is a death sentence for the Nationals, unless they add a closer or even another guy, say like a Brad Hand, who can really shore up that bullpen. I don't see them going anywhere in the postseason.
I like Brad Hand. So
I like him. Yeah, he's a good pitcher.
So here's my deal. I am going to go with the Indians also, and I'm going to go with the Nationals, who have been, they've gotten their thorough analysis from you guys, maybe in the bad way, but the rest of their team is just so freaking good, and I think they're gonna go ham on the trade deadline this year with relief pitchers. And I think it's really the difference between saying there's no good closers out there and there's no good relief pitchers, because there's relief pitchers out there. I think they're just going to clean house and try to bring in as many new relievers as they can. They don't have to be closers. The closer role is one of the most arbitrary things that I've ever seen in baseball. It changes so often. Like, Felipe Rivero is the best pitcher in baseball, and the Nationals, he wasn't even like the Nationals' top 10 prospect last year when he was traded from Lansing. So I think building a bullpen is the easiest thing to build.
I would make the case, though, that there aren't a lot of elite relief pitchers available, whereas last year Miller and Chapman were traded, and Melanson. That's like 3 elite guys, I think, who were all traded at the deadline. I don't really see. That's just big. I think you're like, so yes, the closer role is totally arbitrary, but there's a reason that closers are usually the best relief pitchers in baseball, and that's what the Nationals need, because
somebody tell Fernando Rodney that.
You're not, just because you upgrade slightly from Blake Trinan to Brad Hand. I mean, Brad Hand's been great, but I mean, that's like, they have to get like 3 or 4 of those guys, like 3 or 4 Brad Hands, in my opinion, to make up for.
How many hands did the Padres have? Quick, somebody check.
I know it's
one, and they're terrible. But
I know it's not the best stated point, but that makes it what I'm trying to say. Like, I think you're kind of glossing over that. Is that?
But here's also what you're saying. You're saying that the closer is facing an arbitrary role, and you're kind of saying that they can win with the closer by committee. The thing is, you look back at recent history.
I'm not saying closer by committee. I'm saying anybody can become a great closer in an instant.
I didn't get that.
I don't think that's true, honestly. I really don't think that's true.
But what you were saying kind of came off was that they don't need to get an elite closer. They just need to get a bunch of relief pitchers, and then they'll short the bullpen. The thing is that you look at recent World Series history, and every team had their closer, and they were very good that year.
All right,
and I don't see the Nationals picking up that guy.
Let me bounce an interesting idea out there. Nationals trade for Zach Britton.
If he's healthy.
I love it, but I don't think the Nationals would do it.
I don't think the
I mean the Orioles. I mean, I don't
Orioles
think
might.
the Orioles would do it.
They're not. They're
I don't
not.
think so.
The
They don't
Orioles,
sell.
In a month
the
from
Orioles
now-
refuse to sell.
A
They
month
don't
from
sell.
now, they might be looking pretty bad in that division. I don't know.
I mean, I think that's a good deal. Do the Nationals really have the prospect depth to get him? I think they have one or two top guys. Would they be willing to get rid of them to go all in this season? I don't know. They've never demonstrated that aggressiveness before. I mean, I know they made the Ian trade, but they've never really gone out for a mid-season deal like that before that. I can think of.
Well, trade for freaking Addison Reed, then trade for Tommy Kahnle, trade for guys like that. Trade for maybe the Orioles will part with like Michael Givens. I don't know, like trade for some random Reds pitcher like that's doing well with like underlying metrics or whatever. They just need new faces in there. That's all I'm saying, and it might work out. And I think it's the easiest part of a team to build.
This is the same cycle for the Nationals for the past 5 years. That they need a closer. They have bullpen issues. They need a closer. Okay, they're looking to trade for a closer.
They've been bringing in the quote unquote closer. They brought in fucking Jonathan Papelbon, for crying out loud. Who ever thought that was going to be a good idea? Whatever. It's a prediction. All right. I think I have my right to that. And the Indians don't need much explaining. They have the best rotation out there and are one of the better bullpens too. Underperforming this year, but I trust what they got. All right, I think that is more than enough podcast for one day, or maybe it's not. Maybe we need more, but that is going to do it for our show today. We very much appreciate any feedback you have for us. You can leave us your feedback by commenting. You can tweet us at WPB_podcast. You can also check out our website and check out all kinds of new articles that we've been writing. We're basically dropping them every single day now, releasing them every day. I think Ray mentioned it earlier. He just wrote one on his NL West first half in review. I just wrote one on Aaron Judge. So if you're interested in those, you should go check it out on our website. Links will be in the description. And yeah, that is all.